So next we're going to collect 3 articles brought by the planning board, by the personnel board. If you have, an administrative note that I did not mention is that if you have questions, there's a microphone at the back of the room, and you can go to that and bring your question or comment to the floor. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Ellen Quackenbush, 206 Perry Street, Chair of the Personnel Board. And as stated, I'm going to be reading or introducing you to 3 articles, Article 4, 5, and 6. So Article 4, and this is typically on the consent calendar, is reflected in the warrant and reads, to determine whether the town will vote to ratify the Personnel Board's action to amend the classification and compensation plan as follows, or take any other action relative thereto. This is detailed on page 1 of the warrant. 2, what is the classification, what is a classification action? This article requests town meeting approval of classification actions taken by the Personnel Board during the past year. A classification action is an amendment to the town's classification and compensation plan, which adds or deletes a job title, assigns a job title to a salary range, or reassigns a title from one salary range to another within the plan. Existence of the title in the plan does not determine whether the position will be funded. Funding for positions is subject to the limitations of the approved general fund and enterprise fund budgets. Classification actions become necessary throughout the year when the town manager creates a new position, when duties of an existing position change in a significant manner, or when it is determined that a position title needs to be updated. In accordance with the Personnel Bylaw, the Personnel Board assigns titles and salary ranges as needed throughout the year and puts them into immediate effect. Salary grade assignments are determined by using the town's standardized classification system, which groups positions by assigning weighted points to common occupational features and distinguishing characteristics such as what's the nature of the work, what's the level of the work, what are the job requirements, job qualifications, and working conditions. In the event that the Personnel Board determines that a new or a changed position requires an amendment to the classification and compensation plan, the board temporarily authorizes the change pending ratification at the next town meeting. Since 2019, town meeting, the Personnel Board authorized 3 changes to the classification plan, and they're printed in the warrant and they're subject to town meeting ratification. 2 actions were title changes with no impact on grade and salary range assignments. The titles Facility Land Maintainer and Chief Financial Officer were recommended as being a better fit with current responsibilities of the positions. The 3rd action added a title to the plan. Due to increased responsibility and complexity, an existing position was reassigned from a lower salary grade in the AC4 grade with a new title of assistant to the town clerk. These actions, as intended by the Personnel Bylaw, maintain appropriate job titles and salary ranges in order to attract and retain high-quality, competent employees, comply with pay equity laws, and prolong the life of the classification and compensation plan. This is important because it costs a lot of money and time to redo this plan, and we're trying very hard, the HR manager and the Personnel Board, to prolong that plan by making changes as we go along. Accordingly, they're presented, so we present these tweaks, you might say, to the classification plan or classification plan for town meeting for ratification. That's the end of this article. Any questions or comments from the board?
Seeing none, go ahead.
Excellent. So